Hello, and welcome to the Healing Mama podcast. I'm Danny, a certified positive discipline coach and fellow mom just like you, here to equip you with tools for discipline that are rooted in connection, respect, and God's love. I'm so glad you're here. Hello, and welcome to episode 47 of the Healing Mama podcast. I just want to start by saying thank you for just being here today. And if you are someone who has been following the Healing Mama podcast, I just, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate you for continuing to follow me as I have just adjusted through some different life circumstances while also being a podcast host. If you are a mom of littles, you know what it's like and what it's like to do other things in addition to being a mom, which is my sole priority. And so, while I love podcasting and this is kind of my creative outlet, um, I also like being a mom is my first priority. And I have felt so seen by God, if that makes sense, in just kind of going back and forth, struggling with wanting to do more, be more with my career, I guess you would say. And I was just really praying for God to just show me or give me some insight on what I really need to focus on in this season of my life. And he faithfully, as he always does, answered that. And I feel like I just felt like me being intentional and present as a mom to my children, especially at their ages, is my biggest priority. And so that has to come first, so that I can just be a better mentor, is if that's the word in the future, a better parent coach, if that's the word. Because right now in this season, my podcast is really my main focus. I hope to in the future be offering like coaching sessions, be offering words fail me at the moment, but not like a just like a thing. This is so funny. You are live with me right now trying to get my brain to work. I feel like I'm still under a year postpartum, and so I don't think that I'm completely back yet. Um, but I hope to host some different in-person events where I get to really focus on certain matters in parenting and having like people come and learn from me in those. But I really feel like God is just like seasoning me a little bit. He's like, you're good where you are. Focus on what you can do, what you have. And I don't want you to be stressed. I don't want you to be feeling like you have to do all the things because sometimes I feel like this desire to feel like we need to be doing more steals our joy in the present. And so I'm resting in the present and I am so joyful to be here. So I am so happy to have you here. And today's episode is so good and I am so glad to share with you. So we've been diving into Paul David Tripp's book, Parenting. And today we're going to discuss chapter 2, which is all about grace. And I feel like grace is a word that is used so often, and at times it loses its significance. It's kind of like when someone sneezes and you say, "Oh, bless you." It's like over time we have desensitized the weight of what it means to be blessed. We have become desensitized to what it means to give and receive grace. So this chapter was so refreshing for me and I hope if you are following along that it is for you too. And if you have no interest in reading the book, well, then that's what this series is for. Tripp says that God never calls you to a task without giving you what you need to do it. And He never sends you without going with you. God is always with us, and He never forgets us. But sometimes we can forget Him and His presence in every single moment of our day. His grace is there with us when our children aren't listening, when they are fighting, when you've lost your cool, when you are falling asleep at night crying into your pillow because you feel like the worst mom in the world. These are not the problem. The problem is that we have temporarily lost sight of what it means to receive God's grace, or maybe you never knew fully in the first place. There is nothing more important than to understand what God is giving us in the grace of His Son, Jesus Christ. So let's fill our cups with this truth and understanding, because even when our cups feel empty, the truth is that they aren't. God and His grace never run out. We just have to remember that it's there. Understanding and remembering God's grace will change the way that you show up for and parent your babies. So let's give ourselves a little refresh. Tripp takes time to explain the three different pretenses of grace: the past, present, and future. Past grace is the forgiveness that we received because of the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus. Future grace is having a place in eternity guaranteed by simply being a child of God. And present grace, this grace reaches you wherever you are, in your darkest moments, and your feeling of inability, when you feel at the end of your wisdom. It's yours when you blow it. It's yours when your child is rebellious. It's yours in the moments of regret, and it gives you a reason to get up the next day and fall asleep that night, no matter what you are going through. Grace is the most important thing that God has given you. And God didn't call you to parent the child He has given you because He knew you were able and thought you would do a stellar job. He didn't call you to mother your child because He knew that you'd know how to handle every defeat you would experience in a given day. No, He called you because He wants you to need Him. God has a reputation of calling people to do jobs they are not qualified for. My favorite saying is that He doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. Tripp reminds us that God designed us to be dependent, to need His saving, His grace. We need God to parent well, and without Him, we are inadequate. He wants us to need Him and to want to know Him. And when I think about parenting, I can't think of anything else in my life that has required me to seek His help, guidance, and wisdom 10,000 times a day, and that's on a good day. The best parents aren't the ones who seem to have all the answers or who handle every moment with calm. No, they are the ones who know they are inadequate and run to Him repeatedly. You can choose to see every challenging moment like the hammer of His grace tenderizing us, calling us, His reminder that we need to seek Him. And if you have moments where you feel inadequate today, know that this is good. It's good that you feel inadequate because it's in our inadequacy that we seek God's help, that we invite Him into the moment, that He may lead us and provide us with wisdom, patience, kindness, forgiveness, all of the things that transcends our own understanding, but that is all a part of His greater plan. Know that you needing Him, that your inadequacy, that you feeling like you have no idea what you are doing makes you a good parent as long as you are turning to Him. Know that if your child needs correcting today, that you are a good parent. Know that if your child needs reminding today, that you are a good parent. Know that if your child fails to be obedient the first time you ask something of them today, or the 10th time you asked, that you are a good parent. Know that if your child whines incessantly today, that you are a good parent. Know that if your child smacks you in the face today, that you are a good parent. Know that feeling inadequate today, tomorrow, this week, all of the above, and choosing to seek God's help makes you a great parent. If you are an able parent who thinks you should just know how to handle challenging moments, you might lack patience and understanding and fail to see your child. You might find yourself having inappropriate expectations, giving them more law than grace, as Tripp says, being quicker to judge than to understand. Our children will grow up, and at a certain point in time, you won't be able to control them in ways that may have worked when they were younger, and simultaneously created the resentment you might not have fully experienced when they were under your care, but was quietly building like a slowly dripping faucet. Humbling, confessing parents encourage their children to be the same. In the moments that feel hard, it's never our child that needs rescuing, but us. God knows when you wonder if you are really cut out for motherhood. When you feel like quitting, He knows when you quietly wish for this phase, this age to pass. He knew all of this before you even lived it, but He also knew that He could save you. Ephesians 3 verses 20 through 21. Now all glory to God who is able through his mighty power at work within us to accomplish infinitely more than we might ask or think. Glory to him in the church and in Christ Jesus through all generations forever and ever. Amen. God knew our calling in motherhood would feel so big and that our weaknesses so deep. He knew at times you would literally feel like you were drowning, and he knew that all of this would be a means to need him, and that when you call, he will always answer. We wear his grace like a cape. And the question is not if this grace will fuel you, but whether or not you will remember. Will you remember the cape of his grace when you want to yell? Will you remember the cape of his grace when you want to lecture or nag? Will you remember the cape of his grace when you want to lash out at your child in a fit of frustration? What your children bring out of you is already in you. Your child doesn't make you angry. You already had anger inside of you. Your child just helped to bring it to the surface. Psalm 103:13-15. The Lord is like a father to his children, tender and compassionate to those who fear him. For he knows how weak we are. He remembers that we are only dust. Our days on earth are like grass, like wildflowers. We bloom and we die. What will matter when we get to heaven? God uses our parenting and even our marriages to expose our hearts to us. He invites us to see us for what we truly are and to confess our weaknesses with those around us, our spouses and our children. God already knows all of this, and eventually, as our children grow, they will start to see it too. And self righteousness has no place in our homes. And to deny our weaknesses is to embitter our children. Okay, side note, possibly poor timing, but I don't know if you have ever watched She's the Man, but this totally just popped into my head because I saw that movie enough times in my younger life to last me a lifetime. That certain parts of it just still live in my memory. But there's a part where Amanda Bynes is like, and I see you for what you truly is, which is ugly. And not that you're ugly, but sometimes there are some parts inside of us that are ugly. Ooh, those ugly parts need God. So, to deny our weaknesses is to embitter our children. Tripp reminds us that when we are shaken by the sin, weaknesses, rebellion, or foolishness of our children, what comes out of us, our words, actions, attitudes, is what is already inside of us. This means that our biggest ongoing problem as a parent is not our children, but us. Our children don't cause us to do and say what we do and say. No, the cause of our actions is found inside of our own hearts. Our children are simply the occasion where our hearts reveal itself in words and actions. So, enter Jesus, here to provide us with the rescue that we all need as parents, but that we cannot provide ourselves. Not us, not our spouses, not our friends, not our parents, no one but Jesus. Blaming our children for bad actions and feelings can embetter them, but also can cause us to miss out on the grace of Jesus Christ and miss the lessons that would otherwise keep us from repeating the same cycles over and over again. God's grace grows and changes us as parents, and Tripp points out something that's really good that I want to share because it shines light on the fact that we are growing children. We are parenting in the middle of our own sanctification. We are parenting in the between the already of our conversion and then not yet of our final destination. I don't know if you hear my sweet little baby in the background. This is me doing what I am called to do in the middle of doing what I am called to do. Okay. We are all growing, and while we parent our children, God is parenting us. Tripp reminds us that, like our children, we need to grow and mature. Like our children, we have not progressed beyond the need of our Father's care. Like our children, we need a parent who will not turn his back on us, even though we stumble and fall again and again. Psalm 103:13. The Lord is like a father to his children, tender and compassionate to those who fear him. What we do and say always tells us more about ourselves and our heart than whoever we are speaking or responding to. Has parenting pushed you more towards patient gentleness or impatient harshness? And I'm just saying that either way, God will use the hammer of His grace to tenderize us. Your difficulties that you face as a parent are not signs that God has forgotten you, but are the tenderizing mercies of a loving and faithful Father. He is softening your heart so that you can be a tool of heart change in the lives of those He has placed in your care. God's grace liberates you from the prison of regret. His grace welcomes you to fresh starts and new beginnings. And I think of how, no matter how our evening, our day, our bedtime went, my daughter always wakes up excited to see me with a loving heart and no grudges held from the night before to be found. There will be things you wish you never did, things your parents did that you swore you wouldn't do but find yourself doing, things you wish you knew sooner, things you did differently with one child that you wish you would have done with another. There will be some level of regret because, in order to have humility, you have to have a sense of knowing the things you did that weren't right. Regret can be a sign of a humble heart, but living in the regret can rob you of all the good that is to come. Holding on to your regrets can weaken and steal your hope and impact your health in a lot of ways, but that's a different conversation for another day. Regret forgets that Jesus bore the burden of our guilt and shame on the cross and shed His blood so that we can live with grace and love and hope and courage. So remember today that you are not alone. It is not just you and your babies today. There is someone else with you at the table while you eat, in the room while you play, in your car when you drive. There's someone else with you while you shed tears and feel like you're not doing enough, being enough, saying the right things. The one who called you to do this job is with you. He's with you in every moment and will never leave you. And more than that, He wants to help you. So call on Him today when you feel weak and inadequate. Because God is never weak and He is never inadequate, and His cup is never empty. He has a never ending cup to refill yours over and over again. I hope and I pray that this episode has given you the same level of encouragement that it has given me. If so, would you share this on your Instagram story? Text the link to one friend. Also, if you would give the Healing Mama podcast a 5-star rating before you exit out today, that would mean the world to me. I hope you have a wonderful week, and remember, your inadequacy is an opportunity to call on God, to seek the help that He wants to give you, and to just strengthen your relationship with Him. Until next time.